Hey everyone, it's Anastasia Grace here from anastasiagrace.com. I am a transformational coach, energetic practitioner, energetic therapist, emotional and mental well-being practitioner, NLP practitioner, change facilitator. I work with reprogramming, rewiring, with subconscious, shadow work, many modalities that I'm using that are extremely powerful. And today I would like to speak to you about why you shouldn't listen to anyone. Everything that you are hearing, seeing around you, everything has been created by someone else. And how do you know their agenda? How do you know their reasons? How do you know that everything was created for your highest good? We all have inner knowing. We have gut instincts, gut feelings, instincts, intuition, whatever you call it. Inkling, you have it. 90% of the population of Earth have claircognizance abilities, means they know, they have inner knowing. But how often do you actually practice listening to yourself? Why we were taught that being confident in your abilities and your inner knowing is the same as being cocky, arrogant, or presumptuous? Why are we taught to ask advice, consult, and just being, nice and accommodating and adaptive and run around other people's feelings? My mentor once said, why do you want to channel someone else? Why do you want to channel angels, archangels, Metatron, Michael? Channel your fucking self. That's a direct quote. You're just as powerful, your higher self, just as evolved, knowledgeable, eternal. Channel your fucking self. And ever since I did. Why we were never taught as children to take a moment and check in with our state, with our feelings, with our emotions, with our body, with our needs, with our wants. Well, because if you learn to do it on a regular basis and you start navigating through life using your own inner compass, it is going to be very hard to control you and predict you. And I'll tell you something, the biggest desire of the government is to control you. Why? Well, because it makes their life easy. Just imagine yourself being like a teacher in a kindergarten. And all kids are outspoken, gifted, living in accordance with their own cycle, their own response to life, their own eating and sleeping cycle and needs, fully expressed, and only act in accordance to their own inner knowing. What a nightmare for a teacher, isn't it? It's much easier to create rules and write huge books, academic books that you have to eat 3 times a day, then lunch needs to be eaten at 1, and there's a sleeping time at a certain time, and create a system around it, educational system, and raising children system. And also say that kids or people that don't follow rules and schedule are very bad, rotten and spoiled, and put on top of that another system, like a religious system, which will explain what's going to happen to those people that don't follow the rules, because they're going to hell. How would you ever know that you're a bad person if no one ever told you? If in your childhood you were who you were and no one called you names, no one named you a bad person, the biggest fear of people in going into self-development and self-discovery is to discover that they're bad, which they're not. And the biggest fear of my clients, when they come to me, they actually say that, they actually, acknowledge that I'm scared that you're going to like connect to me, you're gonna start digging into my subconscious, and you will find out that I'm a bad, horrible person, which they never are, because every human being is made of the same material, the soul material. If you were never told that you are a very bad person, how would you know how to do the right thing? Well, let me tell you that your eternal soul will awaken in that moment and will guide you. I take clients on the process called a soul regression. It's a hypnotic regression into the life between lives. I was fascinated with the subject for many years after reading Michael Newton's books, Dolores Cannon, Brian Weiss, Many Lives, Many Teachers. I was completely mesmerized by that subject, and I became a practitioner in that modality. So I take people back into the place of their origin, so they meet their soul essence, and they go back to where they originally from, back to the source. And it's like an awakening, and also finding out who you really are, and people find out how expensive they are, how many lives they've lived, and how much knowledge and experience they carry with them, inside of them, like on all of that subconscious. What do you think is happening to the 90% of the brain that we're not using? We're using 10%. What do you think like 90% is busy with? It contains incredible gifts and talents and knowledge and information and unspeakable talents. And tell me, do you think these beings that have lived eternal lives and have access to this eternal knowledge actually need to be told what to do? No. The only thing they need to be taught is how to connect to their own wisdom. So it's time to trust yourself. It's time to open up to your own self and disconnect from everything you have ever learned, you have ever known, you have ever were taught, and switch on your bullshit detector. If something feels uncomfortable, something feels off, something that is not right with you, say it, walk away from it. Say no, reject it. Speak up. Do not do it. Stop betraying yourself. Stop minimizing your own feelings, your own knowing. And stop criticizing yourself. Stop betraying yourself on a daily basis, because it creates only pain and internal conflict. How painful it is for the soul to experience that all the inner knowings being completely dismissed as, unreliable or not worthy of something, just because there are some rules imposed by someone else. Why would you ever listen to someone else? Why? It's so clear to me, because I was born in Soviet Union, where the whole system was built on suppressing and telling people and putting them in boxes, and they were so obvious. It was impossible not to wake up. For me, it was impossible not to develop that huge resistance and such a rebellious attitude and character to it, because it was done so rough and with such, aggression and disrespect to the human being, to the human rights, and to the individual expression of every human being, just to create this cookie cutter. It was impossible not to wake up. Of course, when it's said to you nicely in the beautiful countries like Australia or other developed countries where everything is, sweetened, that peel that you swallow is quite sweet. It's not as easy to recognize it, but still, why would you listen to rules created by someone else, especially if they don't sit right with you and don't resonate with you, and you override your own inner knowing? Those old programs of mistrusting yourself, not knowing yourself, need to go. They need to be erased, need to be deleted. They don't serve you. They don't serve your best expression, the best fulfillment, the best expansion of self, and the most deliciousness life that you can have. Because what they do, they just numb you down. They shut you down. They shut your heart down. They shut your body down. And people stop feeling their own body, their own sensations, because they're so numbed down. Once you open up to yourself, all of a sudden, it's invigorating. Your level of energy goes up naturally. You don't need anything to boost it, just because you're energized with your own life force when you start connecting back to yourself. So this is what my new program, the Power Circle, is all about. It's about shedding the past, deleting the programs, releasing them, removing them, and stepping into a new level of power. And it's all done in a group setting with other people, so you don't have to go through it by yourself. So you can never feel alone, that you never feel like you're struggling by yourself, or you're fighting those demons by yourself and getting lost in that. You're going to be guided, and you're going to be with a group of people that are going through exactly the same journey, releasing shame, guilt, old dogmatic beliefs or fears, any paralyzed will, any insecurities, low self-esteem, any stuckness around self-expression, any blocks around trust and self-trust, opening the heart, opening the creativity, opening expression, opening the willpower to move in the direction that you want and need, because you have internal compass inside of you. You always had it. Your dreams, your desires are your inner compass. No one can ever tell you what that juicy expression of life is for you, because you are the only person who knows that, and you do know it. You just didn't have enough practice listening to it. So I invite you to the program, and I invite you to experience yourself as strong, creative, kind, loving, open, fulfilled, expressive, fun, and vibrant. I invite you to experience all of you, not just that surviving part of life that so many people live and caught up in it, in that illusion that is so hard. It is not hard, and it shouldn't be hard. The life should not be hard, period. Thank you so much for watching, and don't ever listen anyone again. Much love.